Hey, what's up? Today we are talking about several wonderful things, including celebrities saying dumb things on Twitter, the $15 minimum wage, North Dakota's bill to kill Apple's App Store, and why I don't want to use Lotion anymore. If you stick around to the end, there's also a promo code on my new store on my website. I'm Anthony Ledon, and this is POAT. We're sticking with that, right? POAT? That's terrible. All right. I just had chili for second breakfast. It was homemade chili, and it was awesome. And one thing I can't figure out, is why does stuff taste better after it's had a day? You know, like you taste it right out of the pot, burns your mouth. Okay, we understand that. But dinner that night, you know, when I made it, whatever, 2 weeks ago, it was great then. It was really good then. But then it got a little bit better in the fridge. It just took a minute. It just took a breather. And I don't understand what happens. What's going on? Is it like, do like the spices and everything, does it need a minute to kind of cool down? Because nothing happens, right? It's not like I was in there stirring it. You know, like I didn't pop it into the fridge every night. Oh yeah, they'll never know that I'm stirring it. It's gonna be so great. No, that wasn't me. It was some other guy that we gotta take care of around here. But no, it's not like, it's just we had it for dinner that night, put it in little Tupperware things, fridge, 6 months later, great. No, you know, whatever, a week later. But I don't know what it was. Maybe my taste buds, that could have been it. Maybe I burned them all off sampling out of the pot when I was cooking it. I don't get it. I don't understand. It's like I don't even know where this is going. I had to tell you because there's like this idea that's really annoying me. And now I want it to really annoy you. If anybody out there knows what happens to food when it chills out and lets the flavors mingle. See, here's the thing. I know people say you gotta let it time for the flavors to marry. I think that's horseshit. Nothing's happening. It's not like they're getting married. They're not like mingling in there. It's not moving. It's just you plop it in and you stick it in the fridge and then it just stops. And then, you know, you reheat it and I don't know, but is it because everything's the same temperature? No, that wouldn't make sense. I mean, maybe it cooks like a tiny bit longer, you know, after you take it out of the pot and then let it cool. And maybe, I don't know, maybe it cooks, but then why wouldn't you just cook it a little bit longer on the stove? This is the biggest quandary of my life. And I don't accept the popular wisdom. It's not even wisdom. It's just some idiots saying, you gotta let time for the flavors to marry. I'm like, okay, thanks, Dad. But it's, man, I don't know. They don't need to marry. First of all, they're married when I put them in the pot and stir them all around. All right, all the flavors have been developed through the browning of things. I don't get it. If anybody out there knows, please tell me. But it's, you know what this, so you have this great dish, you give it a little bit of time, and it gets even better. It's almost like there's some life advice in there. And it seems to me that if we took the same approach to ideas before blasting them on Twitter, some of you might not find yourselves in as big a trouble. I'm thinking specific, maybe just take a minute, a little breather. Got this great idea about how being a conservative in this country is just like being a Jewish person during World War II in Germany. Maybe you have that idea, and maybe you think it's a great idea, and then just give it a minute. Maybe let it, the same way I let my food cool and take a beat in the fridge for a day or two. Maybe you should do that with your ideas. And then you wouldn't get fired from a great TV show. I am, of course, talking about, I don't know her name, the actress's name, but she went on Twitter a week or two ago and talked about, she has a conservative perspective, political perspective, and she talked about, she made the comparison that being a conservative in this country right now is a lot like, but given the persecution, all that stuff, but the perceived persecution is a lot like being a Jewish person during the Holocaust. And that seems like a bit of a stretch to me. I don't want to weigh in. That's not my fight. It really should be no one's fight, but she had this great idea. And Disney, her employer, she played the TV show is Mandalorian, and it's a Star Wars spinoff, and she plays a character on that TV show, and I think she was actually going to get her own TV show, but not anymore. Disney came out afterwards and said, hey, we're really trying to shed the whole anti-Semitism history that we have. Walt may have approved of your statement, but we're trying to distance ourselves from that and now from you. Now, okay, I'm not raising the question yet of should she be fired and all this stupid thing. I'm just talking about the desire that you have this thought, and it's a hot thought, hot off the presses, straight out of the oven. You throw it out there and you burn yourself. Maybe take a minute or two, take a day, take a week. It's a great idea. Go, yeah, let it marinate. Let those ideas, let all the points that you want to make kind of mingle together. Let them marry. And then see what comes out the other end. Basically, I don't want your great ideas. I want your leftover ideas. I want you to sit on it for a couple of days and then say it. Now, this advice is probably, I should qualify this and say that a lot of this I'm talking to myself, I think. But I haven't had a bad idea ever. They've all been great, including these that I'm sharing with you right now. But in the off chance that someday I have an idea that less than kosher, but probably shouldn't use that word for this. I don't mean that I'm going to have a similar thought to her. Okay, I'm just digging myself a hole now. Anyway, I want your leftover ideas. That's the thing that I want. I'm not saying you shouldn't feel free to speak your mind. Because actually, let's switch gears for a second. Actually, no, we're not shifting gears here. Or switching them. I don't know. What do you do in a car? Do you shift them? Do you switch them? Do you slick gears? I don't know. But some people have kind of taken up the free speech crusade on this whole topic. And I don't think you want to put this arrow in your quiver for an argument in favor of free speech. I think you want to put this arrow in your quiver in your argument for stupid speech. Because there's a difference. I think she's obviously still allowed to say, and you're obviously allowed to say whatever you want, but that doesn't mean it's not stupid. I was trolling, so I'm back on the news just for like a week or two, because I was putting together a writer's packet. I was submitting a writer's packet for Jon Stewart has an upcoming show, and I thought, whatever, I'll put my name in the ring, see what happens. Name in the hat? Is my hat in the ring? Where's my name going? That's what I want to know. But I put my hat in the ring with my name in it, just scribbled on the inside. But the assignment, the writer's packet, was basically one page, make monologue jokes, which are topical, they're not evergreen. It's generally not the type of stuff that I love writing from a joke perspective, just because when you write it and then it's not topical anymore, poof, it's worthless, kind of. But it's still a fun exercise and it'd be a great opportunity. So I went ahead and pulled that together. So it was all over the news. And I had to do a lot of news reading because I had to like catch up, you know, in order to like synthesize interesting jokes. You don't just want to, you want to be able to connect the dots different places. So anyway, that's what I try to do. Terribly, by the way. But no, it actually turned out great. I made Lauren laugh. I'm pointing right over here. But she actually laughed, which I found super exciting at a couple of them. It was just the one. And to be fair, she was reading something on her phone that I'm pretty sure she laughed at, and it wasn't me. So, but anyway, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so I'm back in the news, and this is how I'm hearing about all these dumb people doing stupid things. And I saw one cartoon, I think it was on Fox News, and because I try to get, I've talked about news before, but for this assignment, I wanted to get a wide variety of viewpoints. So I checked out Fox, I went to Wall Street Journal, my default, Fox News, The Hill, CNN, NPR, BBC. And then I went to Google News, you know, just to see what they kind of aggregated up, what was big in their world. Anyway, long story short, this is actually a long story, long now, but there's a lot of dumb people doing stupid things. And I had a point here. Maybe, what was my point? That's why I'm back in the news. Oh yeah, I saw this cartoon on Fox News, and it was What's-Her-Face from The Mandalorian, and she had a shield that said free speech on it. And that was all I remember from the cartoon. But I think that's a funny analogy because you can hide, it's interesting that, you know, you're hiding behind, the cartoon is depicting you hiding behind free speech and, you know, the defense of free speech, but it's mostly stupid speech. Now, okay, now let's get on to the part about her getting fired and all that stuff. Whatever. That's Disney's call. You know, honest, I don't make the rules, and it'd be nice if people were allowed to have opinions, both great and terrible, and not suffer career repercussions. But, you know, as it stands right now, they do. So I don't know what you want to do to change that. I don't know what I want to do I have no idea how to change that. It'd be nice if Disney would have said, like, hey, we don't stand behind her on this topic, but, you know, we're going to keep paying her. This doesn't mean that we endorse her views. It'd be nice if people understood that just because some idiot works for some company, that the company doesn't necessarily always stand 100% behind some of the stupid things that idiots might say. Yeah, I don't know. That's why I'm not saying you shouldn't say things either, but just maybe be aware. I don't know. I don't have an answer. I don't even know what the question is. We'll move on. We'll hit a different topic. In my news research, I uncovered, well, not uncovered, I've kind of been seeing the news a little bit, but Biden is really pushing for the $15 minimum wage, which is an interesting idea. The article that I read said it will help so many million Americans, you know, giving them a pay bump to do the same thing. But on the flip side, and this is the CBO estimated that it will actually cut 1.4 million American jobs. Just take them right out of the workforce because they're priced out. Think about it. If you run a McDonald's and you're paying minimum wage, and all of a sudden the government says, hey, you got to pay these people not just $7 an hour, but now 15, or I know it's going to take a few years, but whatever. Your choices are either raise the price of burgers, which probably not going to happen, or maybe close. I know you can make the argument that, okay, they're making a shit ton of money anyway. Fine, do whatever you want. But I mean, imagine yourself as a business owner. I know that's a franchise and it's a big business, but still, it's gonna. Imagine yourself as a small business owner. Now you have to pay these people even more. You know, I'm not going to make the decision for you. But anyway, that's what the government office, the CBO, said. I'm trying to take a positive spin on it. Because I don't know if it's going to be inevitable, but it's not popular to have an anti-minimum wage viewpoint. So I'm going to try to spin this as nicely as I can. Maybe as it prices people out of the market, they'll be replaced by robots. We saw this last time around a little bit, where some of the fast food chains, I think that was the selective stories popping up a few years back were in the last minimum wage hike. I can't remember when that was, actually. It was a long time ago. But they replaced their workers, their hourly wage workers, with kiosks, robots. And now these people are out of work, but now I don't have to talk to somebody. I can just poke exactly what I want. Because that's what I want to do when I go into McDonald's, is I also want to work there. It wasn't enough for me to stand there and give my order to somebody else. I wanted to be the one typing it in. Enter the $15 minimum wage. We're going to have the opportunity to do that. So maybe it'll kind of spur some innovation. Who cares if a million additional Americans are out of jobs? That's fine. They'll figure it out. Maybe we'll get Andrew Yang in there and then we'll just give him a universal basic income. That's something. That's weird. I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole because I haven't read anything about it. I mean, beyond like the studies in college that I may have breezed through, but it's an interesting idea. Oh, I did write a joke. I'm not going to share it with you. That's worse than saying, oh, here's a joke, and then telling the joke. It's worse to say that, but that's what I'm doing. Yeah, so the $15 minimum wage. Anyway, it may be coming, it may not be. I know it's a big thing for Biden and his agenda. I'm really curious to see what happens. I'm curious about your thoughts. What do you guys think? Are you pro $15 minimum wage? Are you against it? Now, keep in mind, this means $15 across the nation, right? That means New York and Tulsa, where your job might not be worth $15, but you're going to be paid that if this, gets passed. And I know it'll take a few years, so people will be able to get used to it. But anyway, I'm curious what you folks think. I know you guys are more informed than I am. I'm sure of it. And I would like to know your thoughts. Send me an email at poatcast@gmail.com. That's POATCAST@gmail.com. Or the old deprecated email, poatpodcast@gmail.com. I have no idea why I even set up poatpodcast@gmail.com in the first place when Poatcast was right there. So yeah, send it to me at poatcast.com. I'd appreciate knowing what you think. Speaking of what you think, on the last episode, I talked a little bit about my confusion with gender pronouns, and I received a very nice email that basically had some education for me. So one point of confusion that I had was in the gender. Okay, don't bite my head off because I don't know exactly what I'm talking about. But we now have the gender pronoun of they, right? I think that it applies to gender fluid folks. Okay, I think that's right. So anyway, they, in my mind, is a plural pronoun. But this emailer did email me, thanks John Carlos, and said the use of they as a singular pronoun can actually be traced back to the 14th century. It's completely natural for an English speaker to use they for a person whose gender is unknown. And then he goes on to say the pronoun it is reserved for non-human nouns. That was my kind of half-baked counter-proposal, or not really counter-proposal, but the idea that, hey, I thought we already had a word, a pronoun for, if it's not a he, it's not a she. We have one, and it's an it, other than the fact that it's not very nice. It's mean. Because it's because it's reserved for non-human nouns, and now, okay. So I didn't know the non-human part, but okay. My only question here, back at you, John Carlos, is you say that it's completely natural to use it for a person whose gender is unknown. So a car cuts me off and I'm like, what are they thinking? You know, it could be, I'm assuming it's one driver, right? We're assuming that driver has agency over the car and it's that person I'm talking about. What are they thinking? That's in an unknown use case. But what about a person who it is known or it's fluid? Does this still, does the word they apply here for the same reasons? I get that it applies. I'm not saying, I'm not gonna call you whatever. I don't have a problem. It's more just like the semantics of it. I just get bent out of shape about how and why and the rules. So anyway, if you have thoughts on that, let me know. Where was I going with that? Oh yeah, podcast@gmail.com. So anyway, thank you, John Carlos, for the educational email. You made me a better human. All right, moving on. We talked about the $15 minimum wage. See, I really enjoyed this stuff, so if you enjoy it too, let me know. Okay, I'll tell you my opinion. I don't think there should be any minimum wage. That's my opinion. My thoughts are it'd be nice to let the market kind of price jobs as they see fit. I don't know, like in my mind, and again, this is on paper, maybe we could create more jobs. Granted, they'd be cheap as hell jobs, but still, you shouldn't aim to be in a minimum wage job for long. Like these are gateway jobs. They're jobs for teenagers, learning how to be humans, entering a workforce. Some jobs aren't worth a minimum wage. Lawn mowing by a kid, you know, they're not going to trim the hedges. They're not going to edge the yard. $15? Are you kidding me? No. $20 for a day's work. So yeah, that's my opinion. I'm not, you know, yeah, I'll let you decide. You know, obviously you can decide. You guys are smarter than I am. All right, moving on. I do want to open this up because I love the minimum wage topic just from an economics perspective. I just think it's fascinating. You know, does it really cut jobs, increasing minimum wage? In my thought, my positive spin on it, might it actually improve, spur innovation? You know, as it's like business owners are like, well, crap, now I got to cut you loose and you loose because you're not worth $15 an hour to me. Maybe I'll replace you with a robot or a different process altogether. Or maybe I'll get out of the dumb business I'm in and get into some great business. You know, I don't know. These are just thoughts. North Dakota has a bill that they're debating right now. It's a bill on the floor to kill Apple's App Store. This is North Dakota, the tech capital of the Dakotas. I was reading a report on it, and apparently they rounded up all 200 residents and 6,000 mining workers, and they asked them what they thought, and they said, well, yeah, the one thing this state is missing is a bill. Someone needs to introduce this bill that would kill the App Store. Now, the reason is, and I don't want to take this too far to context. Maybe there's a great reason that they have that I didn't read beyond like the headline or the first two lines of the Wall Street Journal because I'm too cheap to pay for it. And not too cheap, actually. I would pay for it, except I know that the only way to cancel is you got to have a phone call with somebody. Hell no. It's $4 a month. Come on. But I'm not going to do it because I have to, in order to cancel, which I will inevitably want to cancel, I have to have a phone call. So I'm not even getting into it. But I do like your headlines. Anyway. Yeah, so the gist is they want to kill the App Store because they view it as too restrictive to competition. And for those of you who don't know, the way that the Apple's App Store work is you, as a developer, you develop an app, you submit it to the App Store, they review it, and then they push it out to production, make it live in the App Store. And that review process serves as kind of just at least one double check. Hey, is this a terrible app? is it broken? If you've ever downloaded an app from the Android store, whatever it's called, Google Play, it feels like an order. Google, play. Go play. Go outside. Go on now. Get. Go play. But if you've ever ordered or downloaded an app from the Android Google Play Store, you know, you never know if it's going to be broken. It's kind of like your Android phone. Is it going to blow up? Is it not? You know, is it a bomb in my pocket? Who knows? Samsung knows. And the answer is yes. Anyway, but yeah, North Dakota introduced this bill and they view Apple's App Store as too restrictive. I don't know who they asked, but lots of developers and people seem to be doing just fine. And personally, as an Apple user, I like knowing that there's at least one round of double checking so that the App Store isn't flooded with total junk. Now, I know it's not the best process in the world. Okay, I get that. And they want to say they want to be able to introduce apps from like other places. Like I want to download an app from the internet. What? The danger there is then there's no safety check. Who knows whether it'll work with the hardware? You know, the trade-off of working through Apple's ecosystem is it's a little slower. It does take, like it takes a few days sometimes to review the code that you upload. And it's obviously, you know, you have to work within their ecosystem and you can't, they take a 30% cut of everything. You know, so there's that. But I don't know, as an Apple user, the trade-off is I know something is going to work for the most part. I know there's broken stuff out there, but for the most part, I'm all for it. What do you think? I'm just curious to know. Anybody in North Dakota out there listening? Is there anybody in North Dakota? I don't know. Oh, I have. Okay, here's another topic. It's cold, right? In New York, it's been pretty much below freezing for the last 2 weeks. I think right now I can tell you what it is right now. It's 45 degrees. This is the warmest it's been in a while. It's the warmest it's been since the last time it was this warm, all right? So just think about that. But not too hard because we're moving on with this topic. It's dry, right? It's cold, it's been dry, get a little dry skin. I don't know why I had to think about that for so long. I think I do know why I had to think about that long. I wanted to say ashy, but I don't know if a white person can use that because it's not, I mean, it doesn't look, but that's kind of what it feels like. It's more of a feeling texture, less of a look on me. Anyway, but you know, so I've been using lotion more often and I actually started lubing up more than just my hands and my face. And I get now why women hate their bodies. You got to get real close with yourself to put lotion on your legs. I've never done that before. Why would I? I can't see it. I have to look all the way down there. I don't know if it's dry. I just assumed it was this time around. And yeah, it was very dry. Also, my body's a disgusting, disgusting wonderland. You know, but when you put lotion on, you're rubbing things. You can see how your body squishes. Boy. And women, I get it. And I'm calling you out because you guys typically use moisturizer. I don't know of a single man who uses lotion. I don't know why I'm using it. Maybe I'm having an identity crisis here. I'm now identifying as a lotion user. Where does the lotion go? I know where it goes. I know where it goes. And I don't like putting it there. It's uncomfortable. I'm discovering myself, I guess. But it's weird. Like, I'm a man. My body is not supposed to be moist. If parts of my body are wet, something's gone wrong. Okay? I'm hard. Muscly is where I motioned. I did the hand motion for muscly. For those of you just listening to this podcast and not watching it. But it probably sounded a little bit weird to just have some weirdo saying, I'm hard. on a podcast. So we're going to have to cut that out and I'll redo this. As a man, I'm not supposed to be moist. Okay? If I'm wet, something's gone wrong. I'm a man. I'm dry and I'm hard. Nope, I did it again. Well, you know what? That's just the line we're going with. I'm a man. I'm dry. I'm hard. But that's no part of me is supposed to be soft and squishy. But I found out, yeah, it sure is. And this lotion business, I'm gonna stop. That's the reason I can't wait for spring. I rarely go this way, but I think we're only halfway through winter, and I'm ready for spring. I love the winter. I love the snow. I love the rain. I love the cold, the dark, everything. Big fan. But not if my skin is this dry and I'm gonna have to put lotion and touch myself. Gross. Now, if I was like a spa person, I would go. I don't know if we even can here. I don't know if they're open. But if I were a spa person, I would go and I would just say, lube me up. And I don't know why I'm pointing backwards, but that's... Look, here's where the lotion goes. Lube me up back there. Exactly right here is where the lotion goes. But I'm not a spa person. I think I've had one pedicure in my entire life on accident. I don't even know how I got it. I think they knocked me out. They drugged me and cleaned my feet. Actually, no, I don't know why I got it. Oh, I think because it was for an acting gig, I had to get a manicure because it was going to be, it was going to like demo a product or whatever. They were going to have some close-ups on my hands. My hands are constantly dry. As I mentioned, I'm a man, I'm dry, and I'm hard. But my fingers were really dry. I had to go get a manicure, and Lauren, my wife, basically just said, why don't you just go get a pedicure too? See what the fuss is all about. And I did. I went to a place specifically designed for men. I don't know what's any different between this place and any other place, but it was marketed to men. So I don't know if we had to pay $1 for every 70 cents that women have to pay for things, but I paid for it. Anyway, and while I was getting the pedicure, the woman was like slathering on this, like, I don't know, oils. It was more like foam. I don't know what it was. It was like, I don't know what it was, but it hit her in the face. And she's like, oh, and she like kind of wiped it off a little bit. And then she kept slathering. It was almost like she was a bricklayer, and was just like lathering this stuff up on my feet, laying bricks. And she kept like flinching towards her eye. And then she's like, excuse me. And she came back a few minutes later with like a big red spot on her face. And apparently this stuff is like acid and it burns your feet off. She had some on her face. Anyway, I don't know why I went down that dumb rabbit hole, but that was my one, that happened the first and last time I ever got a pedicure. So my feet are a mess, but that's, but I'm a man. That's fine. Where was I going with that? I'm a man. Oh yeah, I did get a pedicure. Yeah, oh yeah, for the shoot. Anyway, see, this is what happens. You go down rabbit holes and you don't have somebody on the other side to remind you, hey, idiot, you were talking about this point. So whatever I was talking about, would someone please remind me? I would greatly appreciate it. If anybody's out there, I'm assuming it's just my mom still. Although I did get, here's another update from another email. This is Alyssa. Alyssa, thanks for your email, by the way. Alyssa shared, so a few podcasts ago, I talked about having hard copy books versus digital books. And Alyssa said she reads a lot of romance novels. Most of those are on her Kindle. But, for some of the other books, like the nonfiction books, those are the ones that she keeps in hard copy. Not hard copy, but, like real world books. They could be paperbacks or whatever. So yeah, she said she's fairly strategic about the books she buys. And yeah, it's a mix of romance novels, personal development, and business development books, and a few writing books. And I couldn't agree more. Here's the downside though. Once you open yourself up to like buying paperback books or real physical books, you just start buying them. Like I was in a bookstore the other day. We're gonna bookmark that for a second. But yeah, I was in a bookstore and I saw a book and I'm like, oh, I'm a real book buyer now, so I'll buy this book. And now I have it on my bookshelf and I may never read it. I don't know. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. There's too many books that I've done that with now, but I guess I'm a booker. Is that what they call people who buy real books? I don't know. This is kind of a confession. I'm a booker now. I don't know what to do. But thank you for listening to me admitting that this is a problem. So anyway, yeah, I'm a book guy. That, I don't know, that had no point. So Alyssa, thank you for your email. I appreciate that. Oh, and you do like audiobooks too. Yeah, I'm with you. Lauren and I love audiobooks. It's nice to have audiobooks on the road. You know, when we've done numerous cross-country road trips, not me and Alyssa, me and Lauren, my wife, and we started, I think, by reading books out loud, which got old fast because it's hard to drive, you know, and narrate. But we started with Audible, and now we do audiobooks on. The hardest thing about that, though, about Audible, is you forget you have a subscription, and I think we pay $15 a month, and when we're in lockdown, it's not like we're going anywhere. I'm not going to use an audiobook for anything. So anyway, that didn't have a point. That was just a brief whine, but you know, it's still there, and we're supporting books. Okay. I think I'm going to wrap this up. Oh, I do want to offer something for you folks who have made it this far in the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I opened up a store on my website, anthonyledon.com. And if you go to shop, there's some, I added, I've been looking for a place to sell my artwork, my photography. And so I've added, there's a bunch of stuff there. Some of them are like fun totes and pillows. And I have some socks, you know, up there. And then there are some others though that are just prints, like not Raspberry Beret prints, but photograph prints, like wall art. So check that out. I've got a discount for you, 20% off anything and everything with the discount code MOTORPOAT. MOTORPOAT. Just one time, MOTORPOAT, all one word. MOTORPOAT. I think it's all caps, but I don't know if that matters. MOTORPOAT. 20% off, exclusive to you guys and gals and everything in between, and not covered by the words guys and gals. You are entitled to a 20% discount on my website. Anyway, yeah, it's just a fun little store. I'm adding new stuff every day. Basically, whenever we're done with work, Lauren and I like to sit down at the TV for a little bit and watch old Psych reruns. And they're not reruns anymore. Does anyone use that phrase, reruns? It's not Psych reruns. It's just we watch Psych on Netflix. Oh no, on Amazon Prime Video. Anyway, but while we watch TV, I guess we're turning into TVers, by the way, but while we watch TV, we like to do work, like brainless work, and my brainless work is taking my stuff and putting them online. By the way, if anybody else out there is on a Squarespace website and you want to sell products, I've had really good luck so far with Printful and Printique. They make it so easy to add stuff to your store. Anyway, I'll throw that out there so you can skip over it. But happy to talk about that if anybody has questions on that. I think we're gonna wrap this up here. I was gonna talk about one more thing. Let's see, I got the MOTORPOAT. Talked about the bill, minimum wage. What do you want more of? Lotion. Where does the lotion go? I don't know why I like saying it like that, but I do. So I think we're gonna wrap it up right here. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it. Oh, you know what? Also, very special thanks to our sponsors. It's not a company, but it's a couple of subscribers who have recently joined, and thank you for being a subscriber to this podcast. I appreciate it. Just so you know, the money that you spend subscribing to this podcast helps me reinvest into this podcast. I'm currently, you know, whether it's upgrading equipment or topics or getting access to people. I don't know who I'm paying, but nobody yet. But it really, it's not like I'm making a living here. It's basically, it helps me pay bills. You know what I mean? Putting stuff on the website, that kind of stuff. So thank you guys, for being a subscriber. And that really means a lot to me. It's nice. It's great to feel valued for work you put out there. And I equate money with value. So I'm worthless unless you sign up and subscribe. Okay, thanks very much. If you do want to subscribe, you can go to anchor.com/Anthony-Ladon and subscribe. I think the link should be wherever you're listening to this, Spotify, Apple. It'd be great to have you. If not, whatever, that's fine too. But just know that if you are a subscriber, it really helps to pay some of the bills here. Okay, that's it for today. I know this is a little bit, that's it for today. Thank you so much for being a listener. I really appreciate it. I hope to see you guys coming up here soon. Let's see. All right, take care. Bye. Stay safe. Don't die.